describe your setup here. You have your monitor in front of you with Pro Tools open.
Yeah, so I have the keyboard here, and it's elevated because of posture.
Yep.
And I have this split over here, and that's for the same thing. Being a guitar player and working Pro Tools, it's tough for me. I don't know how guys do it, but the way I've worked it out is by kind of bringing this up and bringing this over to the side. Because look where the guitar sits.
Yeah.
And it's still ergonomically, I still have a tendency to lean forward like this.
That's being a guitar player, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get better guests and help continue to grow both of these channels. Thank you.
Yeah, so it works great. Then over here is most of the pro audio stuff and the mic pre's and the Chandler line mixer. And then I've got tons of effects over here, heads here.
Yep.
MIDI controllers down here to access. This is just a medusa of multiple pedal boards. That's all this is, just stuff connected together, and then hopefully noise problems get solved along the way.
Now these other heads that are there,
yeah.
If you wanted to put one in, how long would it take to get hooked up?
Well, so if I go to the diesel, I just have to wait for it to warm up. Let me plug it in. I have these Kahayan amp switchers.
Okay.
And so the diesel is warming up. We're waiting.
Okay.
And then I always forget which one it is, although it says it's number 2 and number 3.
Okay.
Things change. So now I scroll, warming up.
Okay, so is that putting a load then on the Park? The
no.
switcher?
The thing is, that's the secret. You don't, as long as there's nothing going into the Park,
you don't need a load.
You're not going to hurt it. Yeah. Amps can idle without speaker loads.
And now, are these available? These the switchers that you have?
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's another company called Ampete. It's a good company. That's a little. I think it does have a load for every amp you put on. The Kahayan is a simpler thing, and these work great. I've used them without issue. They're perfect. They worked great for a number of years now. Okay,
so what is actually plugged into the back of there? Are the speaker outputs?
The speaker outputs are all plugged in. Yeah, yeah, and they all go into this matrix. It's basically just a patch bay for speakers.
Okay.
And a rotary switch that dials all the heads into, you know, you can have 4 cabinet choices and 8 heads.
It's great.
And I have 2 of them because I thought I'm gonna need more, so I ended up getting 2 of them. I haven't activated this one yet. But.
Okay, so what else is in your signal chain?
Okay, let me get an amp tone back because I was plugged in. I'm going to go back to the Park.
Yep.
And like I was telling you, my main amp for years has been the Divided by 13 RSA 23, and it still is. It's just got this gushy, kind of warm, modern sounding thing that I can make it sound good for anything. But when I discovered the Park 45-100, it was like a more open and high headroom, higher wattage version of the Divided by 13.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it can get a little cleaner and more, like I said, more headroom. Okay, I'm tuning really quick. So
you have a tuner in line too?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's always there. Because it's like, and a lot of the reason that I play these boutique guitars is because they stay more in tune.
Yes.
So when I move fast, the Les Paul is great, but you're kind of always on the G string, right?
Yeah.
Tuning it. So you can hear how the Park is loud and clean. I always find that sweet spot, I call it, where it begins to break up, where it just begins to drive. And that's where I like to kind of create sounds. And then if I want
and then
more
you're
distortion,
using dynamics too for where you can actually, if you dig in a little bit more, you get a little bit more gain.
Yeah. It's the whole game. Yeah. You know that, yeah. You can either, I'm just using the amp right now. Oh no, my micro amp is on too. It's one of my favorite overdrives. It's the MXR micro amp. So it's on.
It's great. It remains the clarity even with a major 7th, major 9 chord.
Right,
like
yeah. So I'll turn off the micro amp, and this is just the amp.
Sometimes you Just adding a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
I like pedals that explode the front end of the amp.
Yeah.
Push the front end. And then the ODR1 has more gain. It still sounds natural.
That sounds great. Now, are these so that these pedals are in line right here, and
Yeah.
you're just turning one off and turning the other on?
That's all. It's like the guitar is going straight into this Mo Distortion, which is a rare FET boost.
Okay.
And then into the ODR1, which is still pretty rare too.
Yep.
And then the custom overdrive micro amp. So these right now are the three varieties of gain up pedals that I use.
And if you want to go beyond that with something, then you would go into the diesel
Exactly.
or another higher gain amp.
Exactly. I mean, you
just switch
can't.
it up.
Yeah, the diesel. There's nothing like the diesel for like high gain soloing and really heavy low chords. Right? The diesel's so great. The VH4. And from what I understand, this is still his kind of flagship, best sounding amp.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, good.
Now tell me about your rack over here with
Okay.
your rack gear. I'm going to walk over on this side.
So not that much is being used here. Like I used to use this API years ago. Not really even using it right now. But these, I'm using these, and I use this for the acoustic. This is out of service right now, but it's a really cool sounding preamp. That's another mixer. Like if my Chandler ever went down, my Chandler line mixer, I could use that. That's a simpler Cahayan mixer. That's a Brent Averill API that I bought from Michael Landau that sounds really great. This is the Cahayan mic pre that's a Neve clone.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Mark Lohman BAE Neve clone. There's the distressor, which I use a lot for mono sounds, clean sounds, and acoustic guitar. When I play acoustic guitar, I simply pull this towards me, or this C12A, or this KM184, or I have a Sheps CMC5U. I just pull it towards me and start doing acoustic. That's the other thing. If people want acoustics, there's no setup. The monitors go off, the headphones go on, and we're just playing acoustic immediately. So that's the idea. It's all ready to go. Here's the Chandler line mixer. So all of the mic pre's terminate in this thing. So I'm blending the Royer through a Neve into one channel of here, and the 57 through another Neve into one channel of here, and I'm bussing those straight to Pro Tools, so they're blended into one mono channel. And I can add, I've had 5 mics and 5 mic pre's going at the same time.
Do they make those line mixers anymore? I'm
not sure. It's pretty old.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But there are other choices. I mean, like this is another choice that's simpler, but there are a lot of them out there. Most of them are for taking sound out of Pro Tools, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just using it for going in. So that's what happens, and so out of the mic pre into a few kind of rack effects. There was a time when I had 3 Eclipses sitting here.
Yep.
Now it's just 1 Eclipse and the H3000. This kind of changes from time to time. So if I want to add delay, the great thing about the Eventide Eclipse is that it has tempo on it. So if I want to add my own delay, press the button, go to the tempo of a song, dial it in.
Okay, is this post blend, or is this?
It's right before the apogee. So this is after the mixer. So
Yeah,
this
after it's
is
been blended.
on the stereo bus right before it goes to Pro Tools. So the way it should be used.
Is it outputting to stereo then?
Yeah, and it is stereo because sometimes I still do the stereo delay thing.
Yeah.
It's effective for some things, particularly ballads. Like if you're doing a ballad, and let me just get it to where it's a dotted eighth and an eighth. It's still a very effective thing on a ballad to go. And then this old chorus here out of this. And I try and use
Wait, do you
delays.
have a volume pedal right there too,
Constant.
ready to use?
So that's the other thing. I have 2 volume pedals. One is before the delays, so the delays can trail. But my main one is right before the amp, so I'm hiding noise all the time with my volume pedal. So if I turn on my...
Wait, so you have a volume pedal on both ends of the amp, post blend and pre-blend.
Well, yeah, exactly. At two different places. One is right after the guitar, so that everything can spill over afterwards, and then one is right before the amp as a noise gate. Because, like, here's a big muff that I just turned on. Right? It's noisy.
Yeah.
I just hide that. Gone. It's like I'm in my car and I'm driving and it's the gas pedal.